October 1995. I, Sudhish Kamath, was all of 18 years old, starting out fresh as a film writer, and went on to watch Aditya Chopra's Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge, or DDLJ as it's called today, 30 years later. So I decided to go give it another look, now at Maratha Mandir, the home of DDLJ, and guess what happened next?
Normal is not going to happen in this lifetime. I don't think nobody can say, no Marvel superhero can say that they've had a film run in a theatre for 30 years. So I dressed up as Chutki.
Oh wow.
And I know, I loved Kajol's performance. Like when I revisit this after not having watched it for 30 years, oh, Shah Rukh's comic timing. Who knows, maybe Chutki is bi.
मैडम कुछ कुछ होता है मैं आपका काम बहुत अच्छा लगा
Please call Sana sir.
As a generation or two grew up with one of the most seminal films of Shah Rukh Khan's filmography, our thoughts of the film too have evolved with time. So a trip to Maratha Mandir, where it continues to play at the 11:30 AM show till date, barring the pandemic shutdown, was nothing short of time travel. So at 50 rupees, you still get a balcony seat, and when I went to watch it, over 200 of those were occupied because it's a practice to make everyone sit in the balcony so that the 1,000+ seater looks full. Maratha Mandir itself feels frozen in time. A relic from 1958 near Mumbai Central, renovated recently with fresh lighting, where, as my film critic friend observed, patrons drop by less for the nostalgia and more for the air conditioning. The place with its cheap tickets doubles up as some kind of an informal waiting room, people chatting on phones, occasionally glancing up on the screens, annoying regular fans who've made trips across the city or the country to check off that one item off their bucket list. This is London, nobody knows me here except for pigeons. The film begins with the voiceover of the patriarch Amrish Puri, who misses his Punjab and longs to fly back home. Roti paon ki zanjeer ban gayi hai. Or bread has shackled my feet, he laments, feeding the pigeons. Those were simpler times before the anti-pigeon propaganda in Mumbai city. Today the city reminds the citizens to not feed the pigeons, the producers of toxic droppings apparently responsible for lung disease. We have othered the pigeons. The almost full balcony at Maratha Mandir erupted with applause the day after Diwali as the credits appeared, Shah Rukh Khan as Raj and Kajol as Simran, as if the makers knew that these characters would become household names. While debut director Aditya Chopra's generation saw it as a desi before sunrise, which also released in 1995, with Raj and Simran falling in love on a Eurorail route, father Yash Chopra's generation probably saw it as a story of two fathers, or two NRI fathers played by a conservative Amrish Puri and a liberal Anupam Kher. One believes that the daughter should get used to her tears and pick herself up, or in the words of the mother played by Farida Jalal, had no right to dream. The other wants his son to go live his youth as well if he feels he's missed out on it. A youth that flew by as he tried to make a living. Now this could very well be every Indian parent in the 90s, with a different set of rules for sons and a different set of rules for the daughters. But one film was going to change it all. It was going to start a conversation between generations and also inspire a generation of filmmakers to subvert it. Karan Johar, who plays the hero's best friend in Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge, went on to produce the Dulhania franchise with Varun Dhawan and Alia Bhatt, where the girl calls the shots and the boy had to develop a spine. Love Ranjan went one step further in Akashwani, where he shows what happens if Simran had indeed married the boy of her Bauji's choice. Akashwani showed us the ugly side of arranged marriage, with themes of marital rape disturbing audiences as many walked out halfway. More recently, Aryan Khan in The Bads of Bollywood roasts the hypocrisy of the patriarch in a love letter to his father. The true test of a film is to see when the audience claps hardest 30 years later. Of course, they still clap for Shah Rukh Khan in his shots running with that old rugby ball in the rain, or when Kajol gets drunk and starts dancing to Zara Sa Jhoom Loon Main. But the biggest cheers in the first half came for Shah Rukh Khan bursting into Ruk Ja O Dil Diwani, storytelling via choreography by Farah Khan, the chemistry that later created Main Hoon Na, Om Shanti Om and Happy New Year. The other songs were by Saroj Khan, so yeah, the times were changing. The most unexpected applause was towards the end of Ho Gaya Hai Tujhko, when Simran waves at an imaginary Raj, and again when outside house number 13, Raj finds out Simran and family have left London. But then he finds the Swiss cowbell bringing in the whistles at intermission. The beauty of the film is how well it contrasts and balances the two sides of Indians. Indians on their bohemian European holiday and Indians at weddings, the modern and the traditional. The ugly side of DDLJ, the last 15 minutes, still feels as cringe as it did 30 years ago. Simran is not the father's amanat to give away, and doing the basic decent thing a father ought to do considering a daughter's happiness shouldn't be the generous applause-worthy gesture it's treated as. Yet, Ja Simran Ji Le Apni Zindagi still gets the audience cheering. Maybe we think so little of traditional minds that we want to applaud even acts of basic decency. Yes, times have changed, romance has changed, but as the liberal father tells his son, "Mohabbat ka naam aaj bhi mohabbat hai beta," or never mind the situationships, love is still called love. Pooja Ruparel, who charmed audiences as the 12-year-old Chutki in Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge, is now a stand-up comic and an actor. She caught the movie on Diwali Day, and I caught up with her to find out how was it to watch the film after all these years. Take a look. Hi Pooja, so good to have you here at the studio for The Hindu.
Thank you for having me, Sudhish.
I just happened to watch Dilwale Dulhaniya at Maratha Mandir the day after Diwali, and it turned out that you had seen it a day before.
I had.
We
Great
missed
minds.
watching it together.
Great minds think alike.
How was it? How did you feel like when you went there? Like, what were you expecting when you went there? Like, what were your expectations from this, watching it with a crowd 30 years later? Had you watched it before?
No, and that is what made it all the more special. And over the past couple of weeks, giving interviews has made me realize that when I was a child, I, of course, like most children, wanted to fit in, right? And so I think I downplayed all the cool stuff that was happening in my artistic journey, simply because, first and foremost, as a child, you just want to be normal, whatever that is.
Okay.
And it took me about 30 years to realize that just by virtue of being part of King Uncle and Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge, especially, and like a movie that's run for 30 years, normal is not going to happen in this lifetime. I don't think, like I've been flexing to myself alone, that George Clooney, Leonardo DiCaprio, nobody can say, no Marvel superhero can say that they've had a film run in a theatre for 30 years, right?
True that.
And so I allowed myself for the very first time, sadly but truly, and gladly also now that I have, to really let this hit, and so I dressed up as Chutki.
Oh wow.
And I know, and in the same color that she'd worn in this engagement scene, and I made the two chotis like Chutki, and I went, set up my tripod in the intermission, everybody's it was brilliant to see that whole, whisper turn into like, a big, like when everybody realized that who they just saw on screen is like outside.
So you had an impromptu photo shoot?
I had taken like my tripod along because I wanted to
With
shoot.
fans?
Yeah, I wanted to shoot
Meet and greet with fans. How
Meet
cool.
and greet with fans because I wanted to shoot this for posterity, because I was like, man, this is gold 30 years later. And it was brilliant to see the snacks that Dilwale was had with, and the print was really nice. A lot of the interviewers were like blurry. I was like, rubbish. It was really nice, and to see it on a screen that massive, after multiplexes, it took me back to the premiere. Like just at a sensory level, like I was put back into the day when we all watched it together for the first time 30 years ago.
Absolutely. It
Oh.
did feel like...
I cried, I laughed, I hooted, I clapped. I really enjoyed it.
So Miss Rajeshwari Singh.
Yes, of course. लेकिन जो लोग मुझे अच्छे लगते हैं वो मुझे चुटकी बुलाते हैं. So you can call me that.
Oh. Alright, Chutki ji. Tell me, what about the film do you think is the reason why it has sustained itself for like 30 years? Why do you think that's happened?
There are a bunch of reasons. At the very heart of it, it's such a labor of love. It's a courageous movie, very ahead of its time, It took some really traditional values, juxtaposed it in this very European setting. It was the first solo travel. It was also the first time, 30 years back, when the whole Keh Diya So Keh Diya rhetoric was dampened by Ja Simran Ji Le Apni Zindagi. A transition between Baoji in the beginning, a transition between Shah Rukh in the beginning, and then what happens to them simply because of love as a phenomenon playing out in their lives. And the music, oh God, the fans couldn't get enough of it. There's something very
They were
ethereal.
applauding for every song.
Lata ji's, like, you know, all of it. Like, it's, I think, such a memory of the romance. And realistically speaking, I saw what the tickets were priced at. It was like 30 and 40 rupees.
30 and 50, yeah.
And for a young couple to find a cool, dark space with a story of love playing, come on. I think it's going to be around for another 30 years because it does not get more romantic than this and more idealistic, you know. Like, when I now watched it 30 years later, there were so many lines that felt so like the whole Sache Dil aur Puri Lagan se agar kuch mango to mil jata hai. You know, these much before the day and age of affirmations and manifestation, it was just that, right? It was an affirmation. It was a heartfelt prayer.
Yeah.
And so many things about it have aged so well. The characters and performances were realistic and nuanced, and you really felt her pain. I loved Kajol's performance. Like, when I revisit this after not having watched it for 30 years, Shah Rukh's comic timing. I really think that's been the
When
most...
he has a lassi glass and says beer. Like, that's
God, when he's sitting with Kuljite, that whole scene, you know, like, Ullu de patte, and he, oh God, under his breath, when he mutters all that business, it's fabulous. Like, of course, he's great at romance and drama, but I think he's not been recognized enough for how fabulously funny he is. I laughed out loud, really guffawed, like, I had a great time.
Lovely. So tell me about, let's talk about the women in the film. Like, when I watched the film back when I was 18 years old, I didn't realize that the women were so well written in it. Like Farida Jalal's lines, the writing in it about how women don't have the right to it. Like, she uses big words like hak nahi hai and all that, right? And even Chutki standing up and very clearly telling a guy, like, when she does not like him, like, you call me this. Boundary setting.
Boundary setting, I know! But in Indian matchmaking, Seema Taparia copied me, okay? Like, who gave them all that great relationship advice? And if you break it down, the first time he comes with that cowbell business, I didn't know they had met, like, on this trip, right? I'm thinking, hot as hell guy comes into room, ignores my older sister, gives me a gift, like, bruh, I'm set. And then I find out that, you know, these two are, and I still help them out. I think, like, nobody understood the largesse of this character. It was really something.
Nice.
And the original Indian matchmaker people.
Where do you think Chutki is right now? Like, after the events of Dilwale Dulhaniya, what do you think happened to Chutki?
See, Aditya Chopra obviously knew something about me that even I didn't know, because it has foreshadowed my stand-up comedy career so perfectly. You know, this complete need, this mind-mouth filter not existing, an observational, anecdotal, like, voice from the corner of the room at the worst possible time, which is comical. He saw in me the comic that I didn't see in myself at that point. So I think so many years later, if this had to be like, you're saying, what if there was a sequel, right? Like, let's assume.
I'm curious, what happened to her? What do you think happened to her?
So the older sister got to be the perfect one in the family, right? She got married to the Shah Rukh Khan.
She kind of opened the doors.
She opened the door. She did the solo traveling first. She showed her father that men can change. She paved the way, so to speak, and did all the things a good older sister should do, including getting married to the love of her life and perhaps having children or something. Because what else do you do when you marry Shah Rukh Khan, okay? You're going to want to have kids with him. Come on, he's so cute. So then, these guys have, like, full traditional happily ever after. Now, Chutki makes the most of this. She's like, they're busy with their grandchildren, blah, blah, blah. So this one becomes a traveling stand-up comic. Now, every Diwali, she comes home, and the line is now, come fall in love again and again and again. Because every year, she comes like, this is the catch of the year. And Bauji's like, buddy, my hair are falling off. Hair are falling off. Bauji is bald by the end of the movie. But he's had to grow up again and again and again. Who knows, maybe Chutki is bi. Like, it could be all kinds of things, you know. It is set in today's day and age, after all.
Yeah.
I know, Chutki could come home with a very beautiful woman and be like,
so you don't see her as a heteronormative or...
No, there's nothing normative about her. You know, she's left all the normative stuff to Simran and Raj. And she's like, you guys can rock this look. You know, I'm going to be doing my thing. Thank you very much for, like, you know, taking this off my shoulders. And the younger ones always, you know, get to do what they want. the pressure is always on the older ones. And the thing is, in real life, I'm the elder one. I'm the Didi in the house. I'm the Simran of my family. So to even get to play this in an imaginary universe is very relaxing. I can tell you that.
How lovely. I really hope the sequel gets made. We would all love to see Chutki because she's an adorable character that people remember, and they know you by name. How many people know characters by name? I think that's the biggest compliment.
It really is.
Yeah, that when they know you, when they call you Chutki wherever you go, that shows how fond of you they are and how adorable the character has turned out to be, and lives in the hearts of people already for 30 years. And hopefully if the sequel gets made, or maybe you should write it and pitch it totally.
I pitched it on the BBC network, like BBC Asia, okay? Like this story, why do you think it's come out so naturally? Because I've only rehearsed it 10 times over 10 interviews. So there is about 20 people sending lots of manifestation vibes towards this whole thing. And for the people who loved me, thank you so very much. You have no idea the darkness that you have been the light in. And for the other ones who walk up to me and say,
मैडम कुछ कुछ होता है मैं आपका काम बहुत अच्छा लगा.
please call Sana Said. So I was not in that movie. And I hope that the other interviews, by the way, the internet has gaslit everybody by claiming that I was in Dil Se. But I might forget things here and then, but working with Mani Ratnam is not one of them. Like, yes. But I'm really enjoying this because people with grave conviction are like, so how is it working in Dil Se? And I was like, how is it believing anything you read on the internet? So yeah, I was not in Dil Se. Love you for loving me. I was not in Kuch Kuch Hota Hai either.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Pooja, for taking the time out to talk to The Hindu.
Oh, it was
it's
my
been
pleasure.
An absolute pleasure to talk to you and catch up with you after so many years. You always know how to make people laugh. You always crack me up.
Thank you.
I'm so glad that we got to
You're a tough nut to crack and make laughs. So yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, Pooja.
Thank you, Sudhish. It was my pleasure. See you all in another 30 years.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.